Welcome everybody. I am Ticano Noni and I am a mindset coach, a counselor, spiritual healer and a teacher. I teach personal development, self-hypnosis, meditation and alchemy. And I'm here today to talk about a very important topic, which is how you can activate your spiritual power and how you can stay connected to it during your daily life. I will share information about what spiritual power is and some practices and some behaviors that you can adopt to stay in touch and nourish this part of yourself. So stay till the end of this video to know all this. But let's begin by telling you something more about myself. Since I was 19, I have been studying and researching in the field of personal and spiritual development. So it's now 25 years that I work with this. I live in Damener Spiritual Eco Community, which is the biggest community in Europe and is also a center of research in spirituality, social life, and much more. We have been also awarded by an agency of the United Nations as an example of a sustainable society. I am a mystical researcher, but we can say that I'm also a technician. It means that I have been studying and experimenting for all these years in that field that we can call the esoteric knowledge. That is that one knowledge that connects all the spiritual cultures of the world. It's that one that tells you why things happen, what creates what. Is the knowledge that gave birth to science. And now science is confirming some principles, some laws that were very well described since millennia. We are here probably from much before than we think, and there's a very ancient wisdom that we have access to if just we find the source and we study it. And that's what I do. And today I'm going to share content and information coming from this knowledge. So let's start by defining what spiritual power is, or what I mean when I talk about spiritual power. So the word power means to have the ability to make things that you want happen, whether you're talking about yourself or the world around you. Spiritual is everything that has to do with the soul. So when we talk about spiritual power, we can think of having the ability to make things happen in the spiritual world, or we can think of a power that we have access to by being connected to our spiritual part. And this is what I want to talk about. The power, or maybe it's better to say the powers, the different shade of this one power that we call the spiritual power. We are a very complex structure. We are very complex beings. We have multiple aspects. We have a very complex soul structure as we have a very complex physical structure. What we are, when I say I or you say I, what do we mean? We can identify ourselves with different parts of ourselves, with our emotion, with our history, with what we believe, with our thoughts, or we can identify with a more deep principle, which we can call the soul. So why? Why shall we reconnect to our soul? Why shall we identify more with this aspect of ourselves? And which are the powers that we can have access to by identifying ourselves with that part? Let's start from the first important thing. So the reason that could motivate us in getting in touch, connect, and stay connected with this part of ourselves is happiness. The true, unshakable happiness that we can experience, it is connected not with our human part, but more with our spiritual part. So when we want to be happy, because we are happy and not because of what happens around us, we have to connect with our more spiritual aspect. But let's define a bit more what soul is. The soul, in all the spiritual ancient traditions, It is described as our real nature. The Indians in the Vedas were describing the material world as an illusion, the world of Maya. Instead, the soul is the true reality, is that part of ourself which is connected with the divine principle, with that indestructible, timeless, limitless principle that connects all the things that are in the material world, because it is inside each and every thing that is in the material world. So we have this principle inside of us. It is a principle that goes beyond this life, and so it goes also beyond death. The soul has its own senses, those senses that we can call the subtle senses, the spiritual senses, those senses that make us perceive what is beyond the matter. They're not always so active. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can help your perception to expand and start using these senses. Of course, this is a wider topic, and I could talk like for days just about this, but I'm gonna make a long story short for you today. So the soul has also its own powers. So by tuning into your soul, by starting conceiving that you have a soul and being able to connect to it, you can activate also some of these powers or all of them. How you can recognize these powers, this spiritual power, how it feels like when it is active. So there are some days that you feel that you are more open, that you can perceive more what is beyond the matter, as I said. So, for example, you feel telepathically what others are going to say or what they feel, and you can feel that everything around you is alive more than normally you do. For instance, you can feel that plants are not just objects, but they are beings. And you can start feeling that really in a tangible way. Also, you can feel maybe the elements of the nature as alive forces. This is a first symptom that you are starting activating this wider perception connected to your soul. Another symptom that you're starting to open up your spiritual power is that maybe you feel a very special charisma. So you feel that you can influence others positively just by being there. Or what you say and do is really strong. It has an effect, maybe a healing effect on others, or in general on the environment around you. And let's go to the third symptom that tells you that you are opening up your spiritual power, and is you have a positive state of mind, you feel lucid, you feel your energy high, you feel your emotions balanced, and this is quite an unshakable state of being. So you feel strong, you can perceive everything, you're open, you can perceive also deeply the emotions of others and the energies that surround you, but you are unshakable in your balance. Another thing that can happen to you when you tap into your spiritual power is that you are connected with a wider field of information, let's call it. And so you can receive intuitions about yourself, the future, others, things that you don't know where they come from exactly, but they are in the end really exact. So you have confirmed that the intuition, the premonition that you had is correct. And another thing that happens when you are deeply connected with your spiritual power is that you can manifest what you think and what you want. You may notice some days that it's easier, that you can make things happen. But why? Not all these powers are active in the same time, not always at least. Sometimes you may notice that you are more able to make things happen. Another day, maybe you are more open to intuition. Another day, you are more charismatic, etc. Why not all of them open up in the same moment? Not always, at least. The reason is that we have, as I said, a very complex energetic and spiritual structure. We have all our chakras, we have flows of energy, different flows of energy that transform different kinds of energies in our system. And we have geometries, we have spiritual organs, let's say, different ones. So our practices and also the behaviors, the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts that we experience during our day nourish some of these organs more than others. And sometimes some of these centers of energy are empty. They lack energy because of our behaviors, because of our thoughts, because of our emotions. Because each emotion, each behavior, it is connected with one of these centers and feeds it with the right kind of energy. And each of these energetic parts of ourselves is connected with some faculties, with some shades of our spiritual power. That's why sometimes we have some faculties open and not others. And that's why in this video I'm going to talk about several different practices and behaviors that you can adopt to try to open several of these different phases of your spiritual power. In my courses, in all my courses, I take care of my students from all these different points of view because of this, because when you want to really work on your personal development and on your spiritual growth, you can't work just with one tool and on one aspect of yourself. You really have to work in a wide and complete way, because we are complex and everything works in connection inside of us. All the aspects cooperate to have the final result that we want to achieve, which is spiritual evolution. So let's start with the practices that you can utilize to really speed up your spiritual growth and open your spiritual powers. So the first one that I will mention is connected to meditation, but I will not just talk about meditation, because you will see that there's much more that you can do. But talking about meditation, here in the description and also on my website, tukanononi.com, you find a free guided meditation that is available for you, that you can download now, and that will help you very much in tuning with this aspect of yourself that we call the soul. This guided meditation is created specifically to do this work. So it kind of gives you the address where you want to arrive with your awareness to connect to this deep aspect of yourself. Because as I said, we're very complex, so we can sometimes get lost while we are searching for our deepest aspect. So in this guided meditation, I give you all the tools to learn how to focus your attention and to get in the right state. Anyways, meditation is a practice of presence. So what is the first tool to tune in with your spiritual power? Is to be able to be present. Presence is that state in which you are in connection first with your physical part and with the physical world around you. We are here to stay in the matter, but by being completely present in the here and now, in the matter, to be able to perceive what is beyond the matter. So that's how we technically work, by being completely present. So by turning off the excess of thoughts, we can experiment this phenomena, which is we start perceiving with our physical senses. We are simply there, and suddenly something more opens up, and these are our spiritual senses. If we are constantly in our mind, and sometimes also visualizations and all this can be a mind process. So we have to start by reconnecting with the reality, with the here and now. So my first advice is to practice presence, contemplation, meditation. This will help you turning off the mind and connecting with your inner senses, with your spiritual senses, with your subtle senses. The second advice, the second practice that I really recommend to you is raising your energy level. And now I will tell you how you can do it. But raising your energy level is so important. Why? Imagine that you are a car. If you have no gasoline, you're not gonna even do a meter in front of you. Okay, I'm Italian, so I talk in meters. Same thing for us. We are very complex machines, okay? And we work if we have vital energy. Otherwise, all our subtle organs, all our flows of energy, geometries, everything, all our chakras are not able to work properly. And so also our state of consciousness becomes very low, and all our powers are just going to close instead of opening up. So what we want is to provide with energy our system. So how can you do it? First way is breathing, and that's why in my guided meditation and in all my courses I do teach a very short and simple pranic meditation. Prana is the vital energy of the universe, and there are some ways of breathing that help you to absorb a big quantity of it. Okay, so the first way to absorb energy is to breathe deeply in certain ways. You also find a description of this pranic breathing on my Instagram and Facebook pages and accounts, so you can learn it easily. And also in the first part of the guided meditation that you can download, again, from the description or my website, tukanononi.com. So the second way is going into nature. So the nature is full of prana, is full of energy, is a vibrant field of energy. So instead of being all day long in the house, you can get out, breathe, walk, even for some minutes in nature. This will provide you with a lot of energy that you really need to activate all your energetic system. The third way is more technical, let's say, is more therapeutical, but I really suggest you to consider it, is to receive prana therapy, which is an infusion of energy that lasts some minutes, like I do it on all my clients. And on all of them, it has incredible effects because we live in a very imbalanced environment, okay? We live an unnatural life, and also we are in a very difficult moment of humanity. So we lose a lot of energy. We have some habits, some lifestyles which make us lose energy. And so sometimes to refill our system with a huge quantity of energy all at once is very useful. It activates immediately all our spiritual parts and also makes our mind more lucid. So if you have the possibility to have someone that can provide you with some pranatherapy sessions, I really recommend that. It's just important that it is a professional, someone that really has the access to a very refined kind of energy and that is able to not transfer on you other kinds of energies that are unwanted, but really just to channel the universal energy, prana, okay? And the third advice to really open your spiritual power is to work on your lifestyle. So practicing in this case means eating properly, foods that are energizing you, that give you strength, that are light, that are full of life, and that bring into your system a positive information of life. The other thing is to move your body, because when you move your body, you move also your energy. So movement activates your living energies. And also it helps you to release toxins and stress, because what is also very important is not just to refill your system with energy, but it's also to release stress. So you need to sleep properly, to move your body, and also to breathe, to go in nature, and all this, because all this also detoxifies your nervous system, releases all the tension from your system. And you need that, because when you are in stress, in this stress situation, there are some mechanisms that are triggered. And these mechanisms don't help you to open up a wider perception, but they close your perception because you feel you are in danger. When we are in this stress, we are constantly in an alert state, and we activate that part of us which defends us. And so this part of us activates automatisms. So what happens is that we're not open. We don't open our intuition. We don't have space to feel our deepest part because we are in alert. We think that something dangerous is happening and that we have to react fast. So in that mode, we are not able to get in touch with our deepest part, and we use a lot of energy. Okay, so we need to stop that, to sleep, to do movement, to breathe, to take a moment for ourselves in order to relax. And in that state of relaxation, also our brain starts working in a different way. So our brain waves slow down, and the two hemispheres of our brain connect. And once they are connected, we feel reality in a wider, more complete way. It's like to see the reality instead of in 2D, in 3D. This is the difference. So in order to do that, we can use meditation, contemplation, breathing, pranatherapy, going in nature, also doing movement, and also sleeping enough and sleeping well in the right way. So relaxing before going to bed is a good thing. So if you can, do some breathing before sleeping. So during the sleeping time, this relaxation will go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you will wake up really refreshed and open. And now let's go for the behaviors that help you to open up your spiritual power. The first behavior, the first way of living your daily life that is very important is to be able to make choices. The first power of our soul is the free will. We are divine. We have this divine part, we said, which is the soul, okay? And what divinities do? Divinities create. They have a creative power, and so we have it. The first law of magic is the thought creates. But what do we create? We create what we choose to. So you need to choose, to decide what you want to live for, what you want to be, and then act in that direction. So the first way to stay connected with your spiritual power is to utilize its own powers, its own characteristics. And first, the free will, the ability to choose, make choices, and then act consequentially. All the time that you do something in the direction that you have been choosing, you connect with your deepest part. All the time that you go in another way, you lose a bit this connection. So the second behavior that you can adopt in your daily life to stay in touch with this spiritual part of yours is self-discipline. Why self-discipline? Because once you have chosen which is your direction, you need to stay on track. You need to continue acting in that direction. You know, we often stop doing what we think is right because we don't feel like continuing in that direction. Yeah, like today I don't feel like doing it. I know I have chosen to do that thing every day, but today I don't feel like. This is part of what we call the entropic principle. Matter has two different aspects. We are in a dual world. So there's the evolutionary aspect, which is strictly connected with the soul. So the soul is an evolutionary principle. It goes in the direction of complexity, gaining more experiences, gaining more knowledge. This we can call it evolution or complexity. It's not much different in this case. But matter also holds a principle which is entropy, which is that principle that makes you want to surrender, that makes you feel not able to go forth in the direction of what you have been choosing in the evolutionary direction. So when you follow this principle, you again create a distance between you and your soul, because your soul is a movement evolutionary principle. So the more you're able to put all your different parts in a order, which we can call self-discipline, and then follow this order in your life, the more you're sure that you will reach a point in your future of evolution. Because otherwise, if you listen to what all your different parts, also the non-evolutionary one, the entropic one, tell you, you will probably always go like this, or like this, but you will never take a step forth in the direction of your evolution, because you will listen to not today, not tomorrow. Yes, I said I was going to try to do that kind of path, but I don't feel like today I feel like doing that, and you lose yourself. Okay, so self-discipline really supports our evolution, because we do something until we decide to do something different, because we talk with ourselves and we decide, okay, with this I'm done, now I will experiment that, but because of a reason, because of a choice again. So I'm using my free will. The third behavior, which is useful in your daily life to adopt, is always change your habitual way of thinking, of behaving, the way you relate with other people. All this sometimes is not something that we choose, okay? We have some automatic behaviors, we have some automatic thoughts, we have a lot of reactions. Think of this: you get out of home and you see someone that reminds you of a failure, and you feel a failure. So maybe you was meditating for an hour in the morning and you felt very well, and suddenly this person triggers a memory in you, that triggers an emotion, that triggers a way of thinking of yourself, and then you don't feel good anymore. And for all the morning, you will be depressed and you will feel low energy and in a low state of consciousness, etc. This is not something that happens because you choose it, but is an habitual path that is existing already in your mind and that has been triggered from that one person that you met in the street, for instance. This is just an example. This can be also with food. Like you have a certain habit that when you do something, when you need energy, when you feel something, you eat something harmful for your system, and you always do that. It's just an habit. So all this needs to be transformed, but also the habit of thinking in a certain way. I am like that, others are like that. No, I'm not a person able to do that, so I'm not gonna do it. So I just don't put myself in the situations where that kind of skill, that kind of behavior is required, because I'm not that kind of person. All these habits are limiting you, and all these habits harm you. So you have to be able to reprogram yourself for new things. You have to decide to redefine your habits. You have to choose your habits. So it's good to have sometimes a morning routine that you do every morning until you choose to change it, until that is really good for you. Because also a morning routine or a meditation routine or whatever can be limiting. So change. And how can you do that? The best tool is to ask yourself, am I doing what I want, or am I doing what I am used to? This is the first thing. And the other thing is use others. We can see ourselves completely. It's not possible. This is very well known in all the ancient tradition. You need others to mirror yourself. And so, being with others, asking feedback, and also considering what others are telling you about you is very important. Whether they are friends or a therapist, you can do counseling, you can do coaching, you can do psychotherapy, you can do group coaching and receive feedback and update the idea that you have of yourself and choose what you want to change. And then you can provide yourself with the help and the tools you need to do it. So my advice is to start a personal development path with others, with mirrors, not by your own, because you cannot really grow by your own. You're not meant to do that completely alone. Of course, a part of the job is up to you. So a part of the work you will do it by your own, alone, but you need mirrors. And also you need support. We are social beings. So by relating with others, we also get support in our journey. Another behavior which is very important for you is to think and speak in a positive way. When we think, we do create, because we are divinities, as we said before. So the more you speak positively, the more this power will lead you in the direction of your refined parts. If you think on a low level of consciousness, so you're pessimistic and all that, you will lower your state of consciousness. And when you speak, you do even worse. Why? Because the words are a kind of magic formula. They are a vibrational emanation of your thought. So they are very powerful. In the Bible, it's said that God has created the world by giving a name to things. And this is not for a case. This is because words are a very powerful vibration that make our thoughts starting to become part of the material world. So when you talk, you influence the reality around you. But first of all, you influence yourself. So they have an effect on you. So you want to think and speak in a way that raises your energy level and your state of consciousness. And let's get to this point. Cooperation with others is necessary to our spiritual evolution and to stay in touch with more deeper parts, with our spiritual power. Why? Why? Because the soul, which is that one part that we want to reconnect with, is a principle of unity. So the soul goes in the direction of evolution, we said, but also it goes in the direction of gaining more complexity by uniting with others. So our soul wants to stay together with other beings and to melt into a wider soul, we can say. So think of the cells of your body. They stay together. They create an organism. This is one of the directions of life, creating more complex structures, more complex beings. So a group is more complex than one individual. So it's very important to have our personal moments of solitude in which we can tune in with our more deeper parts, and we can rebalance, and we can fix, let's say, those things that we need to fix in our emotions, in our mind. So we need time to do meditation, to maybe do some self-hypnosis, to also stay with the nature. But then in our lives, we really need to cooperate with others. When we do it, our soul reawakes, is kind of triggered. Okay, so this is something that you can consider when you think of evolution, spiritual evolution. Am I able to stay with others? And if not, no problem, it's normal. In this moment of humanity, it's like we have lost the ability of living together, of staying together. This is quite tragic, but it's true. But the good news is that there are a lot of tools to be able to learn this again. So, for instance, you can do a course in nonviolent communication, or again, personal development, and focus this personal development on learning how to be in a positive relationship with others. If you're not able, you're not alone. No, don't feel lost because of that. There are many people who need to relearn how to be social in a good way for themselves and for others. So if you feel drained, if you feel not comfortable with others, don't worry, it's normal. Our society didn't teach us the right way to do that. So you can learn it, but do it, because this is a very important skill to have, to be able to stay in groups and to be able to cooperate with others, okay? And another thing, which is almost the same, but let's say in an expanded version, is connection, whether it's with the nature, with the plants, animals. We are meant to be connected with the rest of the world. So we do have some points of connection in our subtle structure, and we do have some flows of energy which are meant to be connected with the flows of energy of the rest of the planet and with the natural environment. So nature is not just a place where you can gain energy, vital energy, prana, but is a place where you can plug, let's say, into a wider system, which is something you need to do if you want to reawake all the subtle parts of yourself. This is specifically connected with the ability of manipulating reality, of making things happen, the power of manifestation. I can't now go deep in this. I do it in my courses. Maybe I will do another video about that. I don't know, but there's a specific reason why you are more able to manifest things, to make things you want happen, when you are able to connect with others, with the nature, animals, plant, elements, with life. So keep doing it, and if you're not doing it enough, do it more. And there's another very important thing. I would say one of the most important things to get in touch and stay in touch with your spiritual power, which is to have an higher purpose in life, something that goes beyond you. Why this is so important? Because the soul is a principle of expansion and of unity, as we said before. So the soul knows that you are part of a wider reality. You are part of a oneness, okay? You are part of the soul of the entire world. And it wants you to work for the evolution, not just of yourself, but of all the system that you are a part of, okay? So whenever you work for a general evolution, all the time that you can feel and that you can think of yourself as an organ, a cell of a bigger system, and you work actively for the evolution of this system, your soul is happy, is triggered. It starts working with you more than ever. So you are more in touch with your spiritual power. And this is connected with what we call the soul purpose. We are souls that are living since a very long time, and we are part of the divinity. So we have a very pure spark of infinity and of pure intelligence inside of us. But also in this life, we have a specific shade of this divinity inside of us. We have specific characteristics that can help us to express it. I am different than another person. So for me, it's easier to be useful to myself and to others and to the whole system in a very specific way, which includes many things that I can do. It's not that I can do just one thing. It's not that. The soul purpose is a wider concept, which includes many things inside, but all these things have a common taste, a common smell, a common color, let's say. And so to discover that is very important in our lives because it can give really a push to your spiritual evolution. And another thing is studying. Why should you study? Why have I studied for 25 years and I continue studying? Why people study? Why? Is this part of spirituality? Yes. Why? Because when we go into the subtle realms, we can get lost. We can get confused. So there are these very ancient traditions that tell us many things about spirituality which are useful not to get lost, to recognize what is what, to give a name to things, to have addresses, to arrive faster where we want, to achieve the maximum level of spiritual evolution. Humanity has done a lot to understand what we experience, comparing what is our experience to the experience of the other humans that have been having that before us makes the difference. This really makes us evolve faster. Well, so I think is enough. I just want to add this. All this can be done with love for yourself, in a gentle way, in a loving way. You can think all the time that you push yourself to do something in a different way, maybe in an uncomfortable way, out of your comfort zone, out of your habitual way of thinking, of behaving, following the choice that you made. All the time that you do this, you can do it with love, with the idea of gifting yourself. So you maybe are forcing a bit yourself in the beginning, but with the idea that you are gifting yourself with the best gift you could ever make to yourself, which is giving yourself a direction towards the spiritual evolution, which is what will give you happiness. Because the unshakable happiness, again, comes exactly from there, from reconnecting to your soul. So I think for today is all. I will record more videos on many other topics, maybe going deeper in some of the topics that I mentioned today. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a like, because by giving a like to this video, YouTube, the algorithm, will understand that this content is valuable and it will show it to more people. So more people can see it and maybe it will be useful for them. Also, in the description and on my website, tukanononi.com, you find a guided meditation to assess your spiritual power. So download it now and use it also every day if you want, as a practice to help you in all this process. In the description below and on my website, tukanononi.com, you find all the details of my new personal and spiritual development course, Soul Code, that will start very soon. In a month, the waiting list will open. So if you want, check it out. And if you want to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you will have inspiration daily. And if you want to see more videos, just subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you will be informed when new videos are available for you. So I wish you a perfect day and I will see you soon.